Okay, so now I have a decision to make here because, I've rigged these boxes and honestly, they've tore up my paint job along with all the different things I've done to be able to fly flags has torn up my paint job. So the issue here is that, see, there's the strips I'm running, but where I need to mount the bullet signals, which are also brake lights, is here, which connects my box. Now I have basically a seat bag that ties to my Sissy Bar that I could use instead of boxes. Like, there's been no real good way to do this. I'll probably always be able to use saddlebags, and I may have to go back to that even though they don't have much room for just the daily romping and rolling. So we're going to say goodbye to our boxes, as convenient as they were, and start making this baby pretty again. Okay, so we got our rear bullet lights for turn signals. I also got the brakes hooked up. We had to throw in some splitters here because the previous lights were just the wires, so I was able to just tuck them in when there was a single there and plug it to hold them in place, but these have the actual connectors, so I needed to put a splitter. We got our resistors. I'm going to play with this a little bit because when I turn it on, this blinker is a little bit slow, which means something with the resistors is not right. Okay, so I had to do some rearranging. I figured out what the problem was, and now that side worked before, but look, now that side works. So we have our connection issue, brake lights, it all works. Okay, we've got about 4 or 5 coats actually on this. It definitely darkened it up, like each coat that you put on is still tacky to the touch. We're gonna let this probably dry a little bit. It doesn't really have that metallic-y look like the cap, but it might be because I primed instead of putting straight on metal. Okay, so we got this beautiful Sissy Bar back on. I've installed one of the blinkers. Still need to do the other. I'm gonna do that on camera. And we're gonna need to make an extension in here because of how tight this is, as well as a splitter for the brake light. Because we have another brake light coming that's gonna sit right here. And so that is what is next. Okay. So I need to throw in some extensions here, which I have already pre-made. One extra here. And I'm gonna put them in here. That way our wires aren't pulled so tight. And we can proceed. All right. So let's Alright, and I put a splitter on everything just so that I wouldn't have to later. Because I do have another brake light coming that's going to sit up in this area here. Please. make sure they work. Make sure we hooked everything upright. And yes, I know I have that facing the opposite direction here, but okay. Right finger and break. Alright, now we can get this all like cleaned up with our wires. Some zip tied together, some taped together and run it. And then we'll tighten this and flip her around the other way. Like that. And there you have it. I did it! Okay, so we got our tail light, and it's hard to see, but it is an American flag tail light. It is for an ATV, however, it is going to work perfectly in place of where the Virago trunk goes on the bike. Put it right here. We're going to put some L brackets here, and it'll fit perfect. But are going to have to separate the wires. It has a few options for how the light will shine, but I'm going to have to Frankenstein this and open it up to where it's straight wires so we can connect it to our existing wire harness and go from there. So I took these brackets that came with my windshield that were not useful for anything, and I bent them because these brackets were just a tad bit too short to be able to clear the bolts that screwed at the bottom. So I was able to bend this. They're just